Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The one and only Sydney Sweeney joins us. Sydney, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Tom Hanks and Robin Wright in my favorite movie of the year. Guys, thanks so much for joining the show.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
One of my all-time favorites, Vince Vaughn, joins us right now. Vince, thanks, man.
Oh, great to be with you, Brad, and great to be talking to Houston. Good morning to you.
We got Owen Wilson. We got Judy Greer. Thanks for joining the show, guys.
Thank you.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
We got Anna Sawai joining the show. Anna, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brad.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talking me funny, lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Paris Hilton, the infinite icon herself, is on the show. Paris, love the film.
Thank you. I'm so proud of it.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore!
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame countdown to SummerSlam. Oh yeah, here on ESPN Radio, ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. Got a very, very special guest who's very, very familiar with the biggest party of the summer. His name is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Shawn, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Buck. As you know, there's no more kid left in this heartbreak. So we're both 61 now, Buck.
Hey man, we still looking good. We're still feeling good. That's the only thing that matters, man. As well as passing it on to the next generation, man. You're in Minnesota. You're in Minnesota right now for the biggest party of the summer, and you've had a lot of SummerSlam escapades. Let's just put it like that. Yeah, and me personally, I want to go all the way back to 1992 versus Rick Martel. Rick Martel was one of my favorite wrestlers, man. I got a chance to wrestle him when he came over to WCW, and it was a great, great time. What was your time like working with the great Rick Martel?
Yeah, so that was one. Coming from AWA all those years ago. I mean, and it was so cool that at one time he was obviously the AWA champion, I believe. But I don't know. So I felt like he was a wealth of knowledge, and that was very, very early in my singles career. You know what I mean? And so I was excited about the match, and it was one of those things where, and I can't remember, Book, you tell me, but I think that was the one where I think there was no hitting in the face or something like that. I think that might have been
Yeah, that
the
was
one
right.
with Sherry. Yeah. So, because it was built around, kind of him being the model and me being the Heartbreak Kid. And it's one of those ones, Book, where you feel like you wish you could have that one over, because I didn't even know who I was at that point yet. You know what I mean? I didn't know the HBK character to the depth that I would once find him. I was still on that journey, so to speak. And so, but Rick was he was such a good dude, so patient, so understanding, and helped me a lot. And that was one, again, challenging for a big event. It's heel on heel, you know what I mean? And you got two guys that people are not supposed to like, and they didn't. So challenging from that aspect. And I have to be honest, it's so early. I was still trying to find out who I was. So I can't really say that's one that I felt like I shined that well. But the one thing that is the positive of it is being out there with a guy that had so much knowledge, so much patience, and just understanding of trying to teach me what it was like, to be out there on big events, because again, this was all still very new to me at that time. And I'll put it in the perspective of, it almost reminded me of like being in Mid-South when I first started and being out there with those guys that knew so much more to me, so much more than I did, and how much I benefited from that. And so that's the thing. It's not, I don't know that that's a match that's a huge, memory for a lot of people, but in the building process of Shawn Michaels and the Heartbreak Kid character, it was a huge foundational tool that I desperately needed at that time.
Well, Shawn, Brad Gilmore here to jump in. For the next year, you went against Mr. Perfect, another AWA guy. Kurt Hennig, one of the best of all time. Do you feel like the next year you felt better and more as the Heartbreak Kid for the next SummerSlam?
Once again, a little bit. I got to be honest. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't until me. I feel like maybe after being in there with Davey for the Intercontinental Championship that I was getting a better handle on it. And even then, I don't know. Again, I guess I look back on it because I think it was, looking back, it's all a huge positive, but they just didn't really know what it was. And I didn't know what it was I wanted to be. They first came up with this, as I've told everybody, came up with this concept of, we like to call you the idol. And that was it. And I just knew that I didn't want this name. I wanted to be Shawn Michaels, and I wanted to try to find out who I was going to be. Hennig was the guy that gave me, the name. He said it once on a, when he was, doing broadcasts with Vince. And even then I wasn't sure, so I guess that's the thing. And Kurt was, a bumper too. It's weird. Kurt and I always tell everybody, you'd think that would always be a fantastic match, but when we were both kind of bad guys, so to speak, once again, we both sold for each other. But you know what I mean? It was two guys that are built to make other people look good. I had great matches with Kurt when I was one of the Rockers, in a singles match. It went fantastic. It was very distinct, babyface versus heel. But those first couple ones, in my singles career, they were tough. Going into WrestleMania 9, I felt like I was getting a little bit of a handle on it with Tatanka, but there was still a lot of stuff missing and a lot of stuff I had to still put together. But I wouldn't change that experience and that process for anything in the world.
1995, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, ladder match. You had to have been hitting your stride by that point.
Sure, yeah. Well, yeah, and that's another one, but you're out there with your buddy, Scott and I at that point booked, my goodness, he and I had worked every night with each other. Man, it felt like 2 years straight. I mean, it was every night, we're riding together. We knew each other like the back of our hands. And yes, and by that time, now you're comfortable. The only tough thing about that match was, one, you're following the WrestleMania match.
Right.
And strangely enough, in that one, we were kind of given this, again, one of those edicts that you get for whatever reason. They didn't want us using the ladder as an offensive weapon. We had to, we got, they didn't want us outright hitting each other. So it had to be more happenstance. You're turning and you hit the guy with the ladder. And so, there was a challenge to that one, not just following the first one, you have to make it different, but then you also can't kind of go hog wild. So you can't really step up the violence aspect of it, because they wanted to, kind of taper that back a little bit. So that was the challenge for us in that one, to be perfectly honest.
I guess, Shawn, when you think of SummerSlam and you hear those words, we've gone through some of your early matches, but what's the one that pops out to you? Is it the one with Razor? Is it the one with Hogan? Your comeback with Hunter? What is the one that pops out to you?
Yeah, look, I will say the one that's probably, nearest and dearest to my heart probably is the return with Hunter in 2002. Just because, it's coming back from a time you didn't think was ever going to happen. and then to do it, you're out there with your buddy. So when you talk about all the real life personal emotions that are in that one, it made it truly special. And by that time, you're coming back from something that nobody thought you'd come back from. You clearly know who you are. You know what I mean? So, one of those things where everything comes together in a real perfect storm standpoint. That would probably be the one. But I'm very proud of the ladder match because, again, what Scott and I did, because, I thought we did follow it. You know what I mean? I thought it was different than the first one because it had to be, but I still thought it was unique. And when it comes to SummerSlam in general, you think about, that time back then, that's when mostly we were just doing the big five, man. And so you knew that, every one of them was kind of special in their own right. We weren't having them every couple of weeks. And SummerSlam was obviously the number 2, really close behind that WrestleMania. So those were the two that you really wanted to make sure you were a part of because, they were, very big kind of points in the WWE brand in general.
I know you got to get out of here now. I know you're busy, taking care of business down in Minnesota. But my last SummerSlam question before I get you out of here versus you and Hogan. That I always tell my students, your losses have to be better than your wins. And it seems like in that match, you were so over the top. I don't know if you just went into that match and said, I'm just going to have some fun tonight, get this guy over, and let me get the hell up out of here. What was the origin of Shawn Michaels versus Hogan?
Yeah, well, look, that one again, and it doesn't matter what I say at this point, the narrative is out there. You know what I mean? There was absolutely no intent. It was me. That's the way I sold earlier on in my career. Again, you watch a match that Hennig had with him, and it's damn near the exact same match. We bumped all over the place. There were only a couple that I look at that I go like, okay, that was a little too much. But it really was me just trying to fly and flip around like I did when I was a heel. And then somebody attaches the narrative to it that I was upset and overselling on purpose. Anybody will tell you that that's the way I sold as a heel all the time. But I'll be honest, when we had it in that moment, nobody thought anything of it. People thought they enjoyed I don't know. I was going out there. You hear it book when we say it, every Tuesday. Come out there and take an entertaining ass kicking. You know what I mean? And that's honestly all I was trying to do. And then it's built up into this thing that's so much more than it ever actually was. But there's nothing you can do about that. Again, it's like those stories that are out there that live a life of their own, and you go like, okay, if that's I don't know what to tell you. If that's the story you guys are going with, I'm not going to fight it. But that wasn't the intention. I took entertaining ass kickings as a heel all the time, and I enjoyed the hell out of myself doing that thing. To be perfectly honest, it was great flip flopping and flying all over the place.
I thought it was great, actually, man. There it is, man. There it is. That's Shawn Michaels SummerSlam stories, y'all. Here inside the Hall of Fame countdown to the SummerSlam. I want to thank you for stepping inside the Hall of Fame, giving us a little bit of time, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you got it, bud. Thank you, man. See you Tuesday.
You got it. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame.